First, though, Newcastle's Sandro Tonali has been charged with misconduct by the FA for allegedly placing 50 bets on football matches this season. Tonali is already serving a separate 10-month worldwide ban for gambling following an investigation by the Italian Federation. Keith Downey joins me now for more. Keith, good to speak to you. Right, take us through why the FA are charging Tonali and how this is different to the case in Italy.
Yeah, well, it's different to the case in Italy because essentially the FA are alleging that Sandro Tonali placed bets on football matches while registered as a Newcastle United player between the 12th of August last year and the 12th of October. Remember, Tonali arrived at Newcastle on a £55 million transfer in the summer, only a couple of months after he joined. Did he face that gambling issue, the probe over in Italy, where, of course, he was banned for 10 months. That was all for placing bets while an AC Milan player. Important to stress that this separate charge that has landed today from the FA relates to bets that they allege he placed, as I say, earlier on in this season while registered as a Newcastle United player. So, look, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this with regards to any potential sanctions, whether it could run concurrently or whether it could be bolted on to the end of that 10-month ban, of course, that he's already serving, and he's round about halfway through that right now. But that one was handed down, of course, by the Italian Federation back in November. This is a completely separate one, this charge coming from the FA.
Yeah, in Italy, Keith, Tonali had bet on his former team AC Milan to win. Is there any indication as yet as to the nature of these bets?
Yeah, well, look, Sandro Tonali admitted that, didn't he? He admitted his guilt at the hearing over in Turin back in November that he placed bets on a number of football matches, some of them involving his club, AC Milan, while he was a player there. Look, there's no information yet coming out. I'm sure it will come out in the wash at a later stage, but there is no information yet to suggest that Tonali bet on Newcastle United matches or even matches in this country. It's 50 separate charges, 50 football matches. The FA say, they allege, should I say, that he placed bets on, but there is no details as to what matches they were. And really at this stage, does it matter? Probably not. It's just obviously bad news for Newcastle United and Sandro Tonali because, you know, he's already halfway through that rehabilitation 10-month period away from the game. And it's not just 10 months away from playing. He's having to go back to Italy, I think, between 10 and 12 times. He's taken part in rehab programs over there and helping young footballers deal with their own issues. So, look, Tonali's halfway through that right now. And as I say, the biggest question in all of this will be whether any potential ban, should he be found guilty, could run concurrently or bolted on to the end of it. It's my understanding that Newcastle do not expect his return at the end of August 27th is when he's set to return to playing for Newcastle United. They don't expect that to be delayed or affected by this news today.
Yeah, as you say, Keith, that is the big question, isn't it? Whether potentially it's a combined suspension from the Italian Football Federation and the FA, and that will be the big thought of, apart from his own welfare, but the big thought of Eddie Howe right now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they want the player back and available. He was their big summer signing, as I say, £55 million from AC Milan, a player that the club had courted for a long time. And they've only been able to use him for that first couple of months of the season before the ban landed from the Italian Football Federation. Now, the interesting thing for Tonali is it's different to the Ivan Toney case that we saw last year because Tonali's been able to train with his Newcastle United teammates. So it's been a bit of a ridiculous situation at times because Newcastle have been down to the bare bones in terms of players being available. They've had a huge injury list, and yet someone of Sandro Tonali's calibre has been there training every day alongside his teammates but unable to play at the weekend. So look, he's been in and around things at the club, as I say, training most days, training very hard, we are told, as I say, halfway through that sort of rehab programme, halfway through that 10-month ban. But I'll just reiterate, it's my understanding that Newcastle don't expect his return to be affected by these additional 50 charges. Now, obviously, we still need to wait and see how Tonali decides to respond to this. He's got until next Friday, April the 5th, to respond. If he does admit guilt, like he did over with the Italian case, it will then be left to the independent commission to decide what potential sanctions there are. But yeah, Newcastle, as I understand it, not expecting it to affect his return. But look, we don't yet know, because the independent commission will have a full range of sanctions open to them should Sandro Tonali be found guilty.
Keith, brilliant stuff. Thank you very much.